King Kong. King Kong is one of the most feared fictional characters of all time. Imagine you are in front of him and you're facing him. What is the maximum you can do? You'll go run away and you will hide. And if he finds you, maximum he will do is he'll pull you apart limb by limb. He will absolutely drag your corpse all around the world. That's the maximum that can happen to you. But sure as hell, he ain't scarier than Prime Lewandowski 1920. We talk about King Kong. Can a King Kong score 50 goals in all competitions? Can a King Kong be the Champions League top scorer? He can't. Can a King Kong be the Bundesliga top scorer? He can't. Can a King Kong be Gerd Muller's all-time goal scoring record? He can't. Can a King Kong win the UEFA Best Player of the Season? He can't. Can a King Kong win the FIFA Best Player of the Season? He can't. That is what Prime Lewandowski did in 1920 season. This is all the things that Prime Lewandowski did in the 1920 season. It was the same season in which they won the Champions League, the German Cup, the Club World Cup, and all other trophies there are in the maximum trophies a football club can win. And the same season, so there was a player who was on absolute fire, and it was Lewandowski. He started the season with absolute form. He had scored 40 goals in his last season. But this season, when you had players like Kimmich, you had players like Coutinho, you would perform well, and that's what happened that season. He scored 50 goals, 54 goals in on competition. He broke Gerd Muller's all-time scoring record in the Bundesliga. He almost was close in breaking Cristiano's record of all-time goals in the Champions League. And remember, he scored in knockout stages. He scored in group stage. He scored in every single stage of the Champions League, other than the final in which Kingsley Coman scored. He scored against everyone. He scored against Chelsea, he scored against Barcelona, Lyon, Borussia Dortmund. Who forgets his hat-trick against the Borussia Dortmund in the dark class game? Though it did broke my heart, but it was a magnificent hat-trick from Lewandowski that time. He was one of those players who scored in the 8-2 defeat of Barcelona in front of Bayern Munich. So let's talk tactical here now, a bit tactical thing here. So Bayern normally in that season they lined up with a 4-2-3-1 formation. So the formation, it was Davies, Alaba, Zule, Pava. Now the defenders, obviously Pava was injured in the most of the season. There were different defenders, Then there was Goretzka, Kimmich, Gnabry, Müller, Sané, and Lewandowski up top. So now the thing with Bayern Munich was they did line up as a 4-2-3-1 formation, but in possession this was the lineup, and in possession they actually lined up as 2-3-5 formation, which was a very dangerous formation, and it actually broke the defense of many teams, and they couldn't hold up because you had fast players. You had Sané, Gnabry, two of the fastest players. You had pingers who could ping the ball, from back line. It was Kimmich and Goretzka. So this was one of those teams which is absolutely complete in everything. And when you have a complete striker like Lewandowski, the thing about Lewandowski is not Kane. He will not, go back and he will drop deep to defend. He will stay up there in the box. He will wait for that ball under his foot or on his head. And you know how a poacher he is of the ball, and he strikes with absolute certainty, and then he scores. And that's why you had players like Kimmich, Goretzka, or Gnabry, Sané to deliver him those passes. And that's why it was such a difficult team. And remember, it was Hansi Flick's strategy that season that really lined up Alphonso Davies, because Alphonso Davies was not in the picture, and he came to the picture the same season, and he also played a very good season. Think about this Bayern team was the fullbacks that were Alphonso Davies, Pavard, or whoever they were. They pushed high. They always were high. So that left spaces. And what happened with Goretzka, Kimmich, and Gnabry sometimes that they held the width in the pitch that didn't leave space anywhere for the defense, for the opposite team to come and attack, and that's why there were no counter-attacks against them. Even though they were one of the teams, they were the team which consists the least goals in the team. And when you score a lot of goals, obviously you concede a lot of goals because you're always attacking, and that's why you leave a chocolate of space in between. But the thing about that was they were so good in the between the spaces. They had width space coverers that were Gnabry or Sané or Goretzka or whoever they were, and then there were very fast players during the attacks. And Lewandowski, obviously, he was I think he was 32 or 33 at a point of time, so he was quite fast at that time. This season created history for Bayern Munich and for Robert Lewandowski, and it is going to be remembered in Robert Lewandowski's history as his greatest season of all time.